All right. Hello there. Welcome to another We've Been Different video. Today we are going to be looking at Fantasy Football Rankings 2022, top 100 players in your draft. I'm just going to be looking over them and discussing whether or not I think that those players deserve to be where they are. They should be higher, lower. Kind of like a draft or pass scenario to where I think, oh, if I had the 7th pick, would I draft them? Would I pass on them? So for the sake of convenience, I'm going to call this a draft or pass. That's probably what I'll title the video. And let's roll. Looking at our first pick, Jonathan Taylor. Maybe it'll be easier if I zoom in for you guys. Hopefully I made things a little more readable for you guys. We'll see, I guess, when I review this video. But yeah, Jonathan Taylor, first pick in the draft. I just don't think there's really any kind of fair argument against it, considering that he's been a monster the past 2 seasons, and he only has 2 years of usage on him. In terms of running backs, that's relatively low mileage, so I feel like anyone who takes him should be very confident moving forward. Christian McCaffrey. At number 2, I'm going to pass, strictly because when you have a high pick like that, considering you have a long time to get back to where you are, I would rather it be relatively, I'd rather it be relatively safer, and as good as he can be, he's definitely capable of being, running back 1 in the season. It's just really sketchy. But yeah, Austin Eckler at number 3, hard pass. I've never seen Austin Eckler as a top 3 running back, period, just because a lot of the smaller running backs, definitely have injury concerns. And not only that, he is a pass catching back, and I like running backs who can do it on both sides. Obviously Austin Eckler is a better pass catcher than Jonathan Taylor, but Jonathan Taylor just gets off. It feels like he really just does get a lot more usage, and the game plan definitely revolves more around him. But my biggest concern in general is just Austin Eckler and injury concerns. At number 3, he's, again, players all this high are more than capable of being amazing. It's just at number 3, personally, I'm good. I'm going to pass on that. Derrick Henry at number 4, draft. Why he's below Austin Eckler? Is this PPR? It didn't really state what this was. I guess I should have been more clear on that. I'm guessing this is just half PPR is what we'll go off of, since a lot of people do half PPR. I actually play PPR, which is points per reception. We're going to go off of this being half just to meet the median. But yeah, Derrick Henry, he's been doing it on a stupid high level for, 3 years now? Like at this high of a level? Or is it 2 years? 3 or 2 years. But he's just been pretty consistent, and they feed him a lot. And that offense will need him. Cooper Kupp at 5. I'm going to draft. I feel beyond confident in Cooper Kupp. Not necessarily repeating what he did last season, because that is very difficult to do. But considering what he did, you can't just look past it and think, oh, well, I should draft Justin Jefferson first, or I should draft, Jamar Chase first. It's really hard to look past that. So yeah, at 5, I feel very comfortable in drafting. Dalvin Cook, 6, draft. Maybe. I said draft immediately because I just thought, okay, it's Dalvin Cook. But last season was it was an season from him. He didn't perform to what we know he can. And it's not like the offense was terrible, because Justin Jefferson had a phenomenal year. What do you have? Somewhere around, I think Justin Jefferson had 1,600 receiving yards, something like that. But I'll say draft because it's a running back. But it's like I'm a little leaning towards pass at number 6. Justin Jefferson, 7, draft. I talk highly of him all the time, and I will continue to talk highly of him until proved otherwise. Naji Harris at 8, definitive draft. I just don't see a scenario where this guy doesn't get the bulk of the carries and receptions out of the backfield. I mean, his rookie season was just phenomenal in a Ben Roethlisberger-led offense. Now, I'm not saying they're going to be much better, but a lot of players will be better than Ben Roethlisberger. Joe Mixon at 9. Pass. Too many injury scares, too many injury concerns at the 9th pick. I don't think it's worth it. And even when he is healthy, he's not. I just don't think he's a 9 level ranking. He's going to be a good running back, especially when healthy, but 9's pretty high. Jamar Chase, 10. Draft. Honestly, I'd draft him before Joe Mixon, and depending on your draft strategy, you might even do it before Naji and Dalvin. So again, that's draft strategy dependent, but Jamar Chase, can't say enough about him. Draft. Deandre Swift at 11. I want to say draft. The only thing holding me back from that is injury concerns, but the guy's a baller. This right here, though, on a side note, he's 11 on Yahoo's fantasy rankings. He's probably somewhere in relatively the same area in other rankings, but this guy's like I think I did the video on this. He's like an 80 in Madden. So nice job, Madden. Great job. Y'all doing a phenomenal job over there. Anyway, back to the video. Devonte Adams at 12. Draft. Too skilled. Derek Carr has improved from an average to pretty decent a solid quarterback, I'll say. Definitely a solid quarterback. But even then, Devonte Adams is just too skilled. At number 12, I'm not worried about it at all, really. I think that's a good pick. Nick Chubb at 13. Pass. With Kareem Hunt still there as of now, and Deshaun Watson probably sitting out at the bare minimum, like 12 games, likely a year, according to some sources. That offense is going to be abysmal. I'm good. I just don't want anything to do with the Browns. So, pass. Travis Kelce, draft. With tight ends being so bad outside of the top 5 or 6, taking a tight end like Travis Kelce in an offense that lost Tyreek Hill, yeah, that's looking pretty stellar. So definitely draft. Stephon Diggs at 15. I want to pick up the pace of this video, so I'm going to get a little less detailed. I apologize for that. There will be some names where I will get more details on because those names you have more to say on. But a name like Stephon Diggs, you guys know what he can do. Excuse me again. Josh Allen knows what he can do. And Sean McDermott knows what he can do. Enough said. Aaron Jones at 16. I would say draft, but I just don't think he's capable of leaping into a top 10. And I think he is capable of falling out of a top 20 just because of injuries. But he's one of those steady players who will give you what you want, and it'll probably be relatively on a consistent basis. So at 16, draft, just know you're not going to get the stars and more with this pick. Deebo Samuel, 17. I think this pick is very scary because of injuries, and it's just hard to say how this offense will look with Trey Lance and probably Brandon Ayuk getting a bigger load. So, question mark. I personally wouldn't draft him at 17, but he's one of those players that can just reach for the stars and jump out this list and be a top 5 player on the season aside from quarterbacks. So, you never know. Alvin Kamara at 18. Pass. I don't trust the Saints offense. I just do not. Now, I'm not saying he's going to have a bad season. I just think that, especially after watching last season, that offense is just not going to be real capable. So, Javante Williams at 19. As good as Javante Williams looked his rookie season, and as good as that offense is, I feel like it's hard to say pass. But at the same time, I'm not necessarily certain of drafting him at 19. It's one of those picks to where it's like, if your draft strategy is going running backs, and maybe he's going to be your RB2, I think that's a phenomenal RB2. But as an RB1, I'm very scared because you just don't know really what's going to happen with that team. Obviously, Russell Wilson's under center, but it's a little scary drafting a Bronco with how they've been in recent years. So if they turn ship, that pick will look phenomenal. If they come out average, it could still turn out phenomenal. So at 19, draft, really good player. At Tyreek Hill at 20, draft. Why he's that low, I don't know. Draft. CeeDee Lamb at 21, draft. Mark Andrews at 22. Actually, I'll pass. I'd rather have Travis Kelce at 14 than wait 8 spots to get Mark Andrews. I just feel like there's so much of a bigger drop off that at that point, I'm willing to wait a little longer for like a Darren Waller or something like that. So Mark Andrews at 22, pass. Josh Allen, 23, pass because that's too high for your QB. I'm much more comfortable taking a Kyler Murray or Jalen Hurts or some of those names later down who aren't going to give you Josh Allen's production, but I can fix up on my running back and receiver positions. So again, that's more of a draft strategy, but I would pass even then because that's just too high for a quarterback. Leonard Fournette, 24, pass. He's been in the league for a while, and I don't know how well his mileage is going to be doing for him. It's a little uncertain. But yeah, Mike Evans, 25, pass. Mike Evans is one of those players to where he's so steady and so consistent, and he just always gets 1,000 yards. But at 25, I'm looking for a player who's going to do more than that. And if you want to be safe and want a safe pick, Mike Evans is definitely your guy. But if you want a guy who's going to blow up, not so much. So for me, at that point in time, I'm going to pass. T. Higgins, draft. I think T. Higgins and Jamar Chase are just going to be insane this year. And Jamar Chase will lead the way, but people sleep on T. Higgins just because of his teammate. David Montgomery, 27. I would say it's dependent on if you have any running backs. If you have no running backs, draft. If you have some, you don't need them because there's a level of uncertainty there, and it's kind of sketchy. A.J. Brown, 28, draft. I know injuries have hurt this guy so much, but when he's healthy, he's just a monster. And that Philadelphia team looks playoff bound-ish. I say ish because it really is just dependent on Jalen Hurts and their second-year head coach to see if they're proving that first year wasn't a fluke. James Conner, 29, pass. I'm good. He was a touchdown machine last year. That's great. I don't like getting touchdown-dependent players. I'm just good on that. Sacrum Barkley at 30. Scary as it is, I'm going to draft because of his massive upside. Keenan Allen, 31. Draft. Cam Akers at 32. Pass. Too many injury concerns. Plus Darrell Henderson being there, I'm good. Patrick Mahomes at 33. Honestly, at 33, I think that's still too high for a quarterback. Pass. Kyle Pitts at 34. Draft. I don't care who's at QB. This guy is too talented. It's going to be hard to avoid looking his way. Antonio Gibson, 35. I hate a Carson Wentz-led team. And I just think the Commanders aren't the best, period. But if you need a running back, again, similar to David Montgomery, if you need a running back, you don't have one yet, or if you only have one and this is your fourth pick, you could draft. But there's some uncertainty surrounding this one as well. So that's kind of iffy. If I had to say draft or pass, I'd say draft. But that's one of the weaker drafts. Zeke at 36, pass. Way too high. I'm sorry. I just don't think he is what he once was, and I'm a Cowboys fan, so that says a lot. Josh Jacobs at 37, pass. Again, every player I'm passing on, I'm not saying they're going to have a bad season. I just don't think they should be drafted where they are at that ranking. I think there's better players on the board. DJ Moore, draft. Way too talented of a player. If Baker Mayfield's throwing to him, I think that actually might be better than Sam Darnold, because I think Darnold is just terrible. But yeah. Justin Herbert at 39. I still think that's too high for a quarterback, but I think the Chargers are just going to sling the ball this year. I'm still going to say pass, but that one's looking a lot more reasonable. If you're really heavily into getting quarterbacks early, which 39 is relatively early, but not as early as Josh Allen, then you can draft. But again, it's really sketchy. Breece Hall at 40, pass. I just don't know how that offense is going to turn out, and I don't know why people are sleeping on Michael Carter to not do anything. I think he'll still have some a bit of a load there, but I guess we'll see. Michael Pittman Jr. at 41, pass. I'm not like high on Michael Pittman Jr. I never have been. I think he's a solid route runner, and he's obviously a bigger target, but he's still pretty slow. He doesn't have a lot of speed on him. Jaylen Waddle, 42. Draft. Y'all saw what he did his rookie season. Tyreek Hill's going to be on the opposite side of him or in the slot, depending on, formation, I guess, or the play call. But they're going to take a lot of pressure off of Jaylen Waddle by having Tyreek just on the field. J.K. Dobbins. Draft. At 43, I think his upside is just too massive. And a Lamar Jackson-led offense where running is everything. Draft. Darren Waller at 44. Draft. Yes. Deontay Johnson, 45. Draft. Yes. Elijah Mitchell. Pass. The reason why is because there's the guy right after him who I think has way more upside and obviously bigger risk, but just way more upside. Travis Etienne. Draft. Terry McLaurin at 48. Draft. Carson with led offense, I know, but I mean it's Terry McLaurin. Come on, man. George Kittle, 49. Draft. That is a bargain. That is a value pick right there. Lamar Jackson. See, now is when we're getting a little more comfortable to take QBs because in a 10-person draft, it's the 5th round, right? Yes. Sorry, excuse me again. In a 12-person draft, I still think that's relatively too high, but 50 is not bad for Lamar Jackson, so I'm going to say draft. But I personally am avoiding drafting a quarterback that high still. Darnell Mooney at 51. Draft. Upside is insane. Brandon Cooks at 52. I don't want a Houston Texan this year. I'm good. I just don't want anything to do with the Houston Texans. I don't believe in the team at all. A lot of reports on the running back, but yeah, I know what Brandon Cooks did last year, even on that sorry of a team. But I know they have to throw it to someone. But at 52, I'm just avoiding a Texan. It's not a bad pick if you take him. It's just I don't see a whole lot of upside. I think Brandon Cooks is more of a safety net. But I just would rather not have a Houston Texan. DK Metcalf at 53. Draft. They just paid this guy the bag for a reason, and he always pops out of the screen whenever he plays because he's capable of such monster plays. Drew Lock probably going to be the quarterback. He's just going to throw the ball deep and expect to see DK come down with it sometimes, or a lot of the times. Marquise Brown, Hollywood Brown at 54. Draft. D-Hop is out the first 6 games anyway. Like, y'all really going to see how good this guy is, especially since Kyler Murray is able to sling it. Damian Harris at 55. Pass. I don't like New England running backs. I really don't. Now, if this was a touchdown league, I'd say, or touchdown dependent kind of league, I'd say, yes, Damian Harris, great pick. Anything else? No, I'm good. Amon-Ra St. Brown. I would like to avoid most of the Lions players. I say most because there's 3 in mind that I wouldn't mind taking. Deandre Swift obviously being the first, but I'm going to say pass. Could be really good, but I just want to avoid Lions players. I like to avoid bad teams because obviously it's the better teams that always keep the games competitive. And when you have a game's competitive, typically goes a lot better for fantasy players. Chris Godwin at 57, draft. That's a great bargain for a player of his caliber. A.J. Dillon at 58, pass. Obviously, Aaron Jones is ahead of him, and I just don't want a second running back, especially when Aaron Jones isn't the most injury prone. Obviously, if an injury happens, A.J. Dillon's going to take on a massive load, but I'm good. 59 for Jalen Hurts. I think you're getting into the space where you're able to draft quarterbacks if you want a really good one. And as questionable as Jalen Hurts is, I think the numbers don't lie from last season. This guy is just able to get you a lot of rushing touchdowns, and he can throw it well enough to where it compensates for not throwing the most. So, Jalen Hurts, 59, draft. Jerry Jeudy, 60, draft. Russell Wilson's throwing the ball now. I expect Denver to be better. Again, Denver's still questionable because it's Denver. And even though Russell Wilson's there now, you just never know. You really just never know with that kind of team, especially with how Russell Wilson played last year. It leaves me more question mark kind of a feeling, but you have to draft him at 60. That's just great value. Allen Robinson at 61. Draft. Players too skilled, way too disciplined, fundamentally sound, and got amazing hands, especially when he himself is mentally focused. When he's in it, then my goodness. And since he's on a really good team this year, for the first time, he has a quarterback. Justin Fields' his rookie season. It's his rookie season. You can't expect him to sling it, but he has an experienced quarterback in Matthew Stafford and a great head coach who offensively is more than proven at this point. Draft. Kyler Murray at 62. Draft. Honestly, I'd probably draft Kyler Murray ahead of Jalen Hurts, but that's just me. Dalton Schultz, 63. Pass. I don't think he's proven enough for you to comfortably take him at 63, especially in the tight end landscape as is. No way. Cortland Sutton at 64. Draft. Strictly because of upside. What the Denver Broncos could be. Yeah. What they could be. Yeah, upside alone. Mike Williams, 65. Draft. People should not be that slept on. Tom Brady at 66. I'm actually going to pass. I actually like taking scrambling quarterbacks because they add a whole nother dimension to the game. But this guy just threw for, what was it? I looked this up the other day in a video. He threw for an insane amount of passing yards. 5,316 and 43 touchdowns. I can't even hate. If you all want to draft him at 66, go right ahead. He proved what he can do time and time again. I mean, he's a freaking GOAT. Joe Burrow. This is going to be a long video if you guys couldn't guess because we're at 68 and I don't know how long I've been doing this for, but yeah. Joe Burrow, 67. Draft. I don't think I'd actually personally draft him that high, but considering I'm really high on T. Higgins and I'm really high on Jamar Chase, someone's going to be throwing him the ball, and it's Joe Burrow. Actually, another thing about Joe Burrow, too, is he's looking 100% in terms of movement and recovering from that ACL injury to where he can scramble a little bit better than he did last season. T.J. Hawkinson, 68. Draft. I had to think about that one a little more. He was one of the Lions players that I was like, yeah, I'd take him. 68 might be a tad bit too high, but if he can fall a little bit, definitely draft. But even if you take him at 68, that's still a pretty solid pick. Amari Cooper at 69. If Deshaun Watson was playing, I'd say, yeah, I'll draft him. I'm good on Amari Cooper, man. I don't want a Browns player. And someone's got to catch the ball, of course, but I'm good. Gabriel Davis at 70. Pass. This guy had an insane, what was it? playoff game against the Chiefs where they almost won, but that was one game. Pass. Clyde, pass. Had him last season. Very, very, very saddening to watch because you just knew the guy didn't have it. He didn't have that it factor that you see when you watch a running back just run through the line, make defenders miss. Clyde did not have that. Michael Thomas is 72. That's a great value at that point for a player who, if healthy, is a superstar. I would say that's a draft. Adam Thielen at 73. Draft. Great value at that point. Miles Sanders, Tony Pollard, Juju, all drafts. I've ranted about Tony Pollard and how underrated he is. Miles Sanders, as worried as I am about his usage, I just think the Eagles' offense is going to be a problem this year. And Juju with Patrick Mahomes, he's going to be better than 76. I'm going to tell you that right now. Dak Prescott, if you're already taking QBs, taking him at 78. Well worth your time. Cradle Patterson at 79. I'm gonna say pass because I just think last year, what is he, like 31, 32? I'm not gonna say it was a fluke, but it's gonna be hard to imagine Cradle Patterson has another year even close to that. But I mean, you never know. Hunter Renfro at 80. I would say draft. He's not no sexy pick that jumps out of the rankings, but he did pretty solid last season. He's got a guy playing opposite of him, or not even opposite him, next to him, because Hunter Renfro plays the slot, but that's Devonte Adams, and he's going to take up a lot of pressure, and he's going to take up a lot of the defense's attention. So look for Hunter Renfro to have a solid season like he did last season. Rashad Penny, I'm good. I don't want any piece of Rashad Penny. Way too injury prone. I'm just so good on that. Russell Wilson. If we get the Russell Wilson of last season, obviously at 82 won't be worth it. But I am relatively confident that he'll go back to his winning ways and go back to let Russ cook. So yeah, Russell Wilson 82 draft. Devin Singletary, pass. This guy's he's just not it. Watching him last season was depressing if you're a Bills fan because he didn't become what you thought he would. So yeah, pass. Dallas Goedert, draft. I think he's a tight end that could bring you great value where he's at. And 84 is a solid pick for someone who does get a lot of looks. Kareem Hunt at 85. I don't want to touch a Browns player. I've said it time and time again throughout this video. Pass. Rashad Bateman, draft. That is a great sleeper pick for you guys. I didn't have him in my sleeper pick receiver video. Did I? No, I don't think I did. But he's definitely a great sleeper. Hopkins at 87. He's so low because he's missing the first 6 games of the season. I believe it's 6 games. If it's more than that, oof. Draft. All you got to do is not muck up the rest of your draft, and that pick is like an investment. It's like when you put in stocks into something, you just got to give it time. And if you believe, and let's be honest, Hopkins is a superstar. So after 6 games, you're getting a superstar. So as long as you are even relatively in the race, you're good. Matthew Stafford, 88. High-powered offense, but he doesn't scramble. And what were his stats last season? I'm actually kind of curious. Matthew Stafford stats. I mean, if he has another season like that, then you draft him. Yeah, high-powered offense. I mean, personally, I like scrambling quarterbacks, but you can't argue with those numbers. You draft him. Can't hate on that. Ramondre Stevenson. I don't want to touch a Patriots running back. I said it. I'll say it again. I'm going to pass. Ken Walker, draft. At 90, that value is insane. Aaron Rodgers, 91. You can definitely draft. Zach Ertz, 92. Draft. Devonta Smith at 93. Draft. Chase Edmonds, pass. I don't want to touch the running backs of Miami. They haven't had a solid run game in a while, and I just don't think that'll kick in now. Brandon Ayuk at 95. Draft. Guy's massively talented. Like every time he touches the ball, anything could happen. But last season he did start off in the doghouse for whatever reason, and it kind of just ruined any chance he had at having a good season. He never came back from that. Derek Carr 96. I'm gonna pass. Just because I think once you're getting into this range of QBs, you might as well take a shot at someone like Trey Lance or Justin Fields, who you can get significantly later, but way more upside. And I'm talking way more upside. But if you want to play it safe, Derek Carr is still a solid pick, but I'm going to pass. Pat Freiermuth. I think at 97, I think that's a little too high just because you can get someone like Cole Kmet later. And I think they're relatively the same in terms of skill and how I see it. I'm going to say pass, but he's still a good pick if you can get him later. I just think that's a little too high compared to the other tight ends that I see similar to him. Melvin Gordon at 98. At that point, all the really good running backs have gone, and you're kind of just taking running backs who are capable of having good outings. Melvin Gordon can do that for you. Not a lot of high upside here, but if Javante Williams does get hurt, you're in the clear. You're going to get a lottery pick, but other than that, steady production, nothing more. So Melvin Gordon, draft, but not a sexy pick. Robert Woods and Ryan Tannehill offense. I want to say pass, but it's like the Italians are going to be competitive. Mike Vrabel always seems to make it work. Not a sexy pick, but I would say kind of draft. And Tyler Lockett, draft. At that point in time, that's just way too low for a player of his caliber. I would draft him. But yeah, super long video. I don't even know what the time is on this one. It just felt really long. And I don't think that's a bad thing because anyone that's looking at fantasy rankings, they can look at the 100 first players now and get an opinion. Not the opinion because obviously I'm not certified anything. But I will be reviewing all my picks. At some point, I will review this video during the fantasy season and be like, oh, I should have said draft, or I should have said pass. I'm not going to get all these right. Let's just be honest. It's never going to happen that someone's going to be 100% right on a list of 100 players. But that being said, I feel like it's a solid and a steady list. I think I'm going to be more right than I am wrong, hopefully. Because if I'm more wrong than I am right, then that's a problem. But yeah. Hopefully you guys can remember the player that you're looking for and you got a draft or pass. Sorry if you didn't get a complete analysis on the player you wanted to listen to, but there was 100 players and I don't have all the time in the world. So yeah. Anyway, this is Ollie Been Different on We Been Different, and we out.